With all the excitement around the recent reveal and announcement of Guild Wars 3, I once again had the urge to jump back in and revisit Guild Wars 2. As I mentioned many times here on the channel, this has been one of the games on my regular rotation that I come back to annually, and it's been this way for the past 14 years basically. I just think Guild Wars 2 in particular has always been one of those very easy games to hop back into, mainly thanks to how they handle account-wide progression and the end game gearing being relatively straightforward, at least for the entry-level exotic gear, which is typically more than enough to do all of the content that I enjoy. And yeah, man, every time I come back to this game, I simply have a great time. And today what I want to do is share with you some of the biggest reasons why that is, the main highlights about the things that I really love about Guild Wars 2. Oh, and if you end up deciding to try Guild Wars 2 for yourself, either as a brand new player or coming back after some hiatus, you can use my code GWForceGaming. This will get you 25% off the purchase price of Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, and End of Dragons. Thank you to ArenaNet for sponsoring this video. Now let's jump right into it. So yeah, the announcement of Guild Wars 3 has me super pumped. I'm so excited to see what ArenaNet can deliver in the future, mainly because of how much I enjoy what they made and continue to support in the past. And yeah, there's a handful of reasons that really stand out as to why. Probably right near the top of the list is how they do world exploration and just what a joy it is every time I come back and re-explore the world or go to new parts of it that I haven't been in the past. Hey, never played Guild Wars, but really curious with the hype back. What MMO would you compare it to? I mean, it has a lot of the traditional MMO tropes that has a lot of similarities to some of the big ones, but I really do think it's something special and in its own class with how they do open world and mounts. Because it's like, think of all of the traditional MMORPGs, but instead of constantly doing quests, so you have to go turn in, pick up, everything's just there. Like as you come across it, you do the quest. All of these little hearts, these are essentially area quests. So you come to this area, you'll have some objective, you kill shit, you destroy shit, you fill the heart, you did it. You get bonus XP, you keep going. You get little vista points that'll show you the surrounding landscape. You get little dots for the point of interest. You go in there, you discover it, and all of this stuff gives you bonus XP. And then hero points are your skill points essentially. So every zone is gonna have a set number of hero challenges. A lot of times it'll be kill an enemy, but sometimes it'll be like solve some puzzle or drink some potion, and those are skill points that you use in your class skill tree, and then you unlock skills that way. Tons of group focused events. So besides the area heart quest, there are orange quests, and many of them are multi-stage, and you'll just come across them and it'll be some sort of like larger scale thing usually, and a lot of them will be in multi-stages. So maybe first like the centaurs are attacking the town and you have to defend them, and then some NPCs in town say let's go fight the centaurs, and then you guide them towards the centaur camp, and then once they get there, you gotta bust down the gate. Let's bust down the gate. And then once you bust down the gate, they said, let's kill the centaur captain. And you will move through those in stages, and you'll have people helping. It's really fucking cool. It really is. It does a lot of things that a lot of other MMOs aren't really doing in that sense. It really does feel like just like an alive game where shit's constantly happening. Yeah, and then there are the world bosses where, no exaggeration, you will see hundreds of players on the screen. Like there's so many fucking players doing those world bosses. Yeah, it's great, dude. It is in my top 3. Also, on a similar note, while I'm going through the world, I love the fact that it always feels alive and thriving. You know, Guild Wars 2 is one of the top ongoing MMOs. We have proof of that by the fact that it continues to get supported over a decade and a half after release, compared to the unsuccessful MMOs that either drop support or just shut down entirely. So yeah, the game is doing well. There's a lot of people who enjoy it, and you really feel that while you're in the play space. Is Guild Wars 2 pretty active? It's extremely active. It is in the top 5 MMOs. And then every time I play, there's people everywhere all the time. There's always players in the world. It's actually one of the good few MMOs that are older that do a good job of making a world that feels populated. Like there's players always in the starter zones even. Like let me run to the local, there's a multiple cities per the starting zones. Let me show you, like, here's my human starting zone. So yeah, here's a town in the human starting city. This is one of many cities. And then let me step outside. Those are all people with the green names above their heads. And then let me step outside and show you like how many people are in the starting zone here. Here's some people, person there, some people over here. So the MMO aspects of the game, is it guilds and raiding? I mean, there's other people wandering around the open world as well. You'll see them, especially during, like anytime we come across an event quest or something. Oh, there's someone right up there. Someone just flew right in there. Yeah, I mean, there's typically people in every major POI I go to, and especially during events, there's always other people. Here's 2 people right here. Two people just chilling. Working on this thing as well. In fact, I would honestly say this is one of the more active feeling MMOs when it comes to being out in the open world. I feel like I'm always seeing people. There's another person that just showed up again. The game's combat system is something else that I've really liked about it. It is a hybrid, kind of a blending of tab target and action combat, sort of along the same lines of what they do in the Elder Scrolls Online. I have always felt that the tab targeting wasn't quite as snappy as I would enjoy, but not too long ago, I swapped over to the full-on action cam and just going kind of 100% action combat oriented with my gameplay, and I really frankly like it so much more. I already thought it was pretty decent combat, maybe not the best, but pretty decent, and the action combat I just think feels a lot better, and that's what I've been using over the past couple of years playing the game again. Also, combat's pretty good in Guild Wars 2. It's not full on, like absolutely visceral action combat like you got closer with in New World, but they have this hybrid system, and they did implement action cam, which is what I'm playing with currently, and it does feel pretty good. It's a nice, I mean, honestly, the combat is so enjoyable that I'll have moments exactly like this where I'm not even doing anything here. Like, I finished the objective here and there's no heart quest. I'm literally just chilling because I just want to keep fighting things. Like, it feels really good. If you don't want to be the best, action cam is perfectly fine, and I just think it feels better, frankly. And to be honest with you, I think the gameplay feels better. I don't think the tab target's bad. It's just not as like fluid and responsive as it is in WoW, whereas I think the action cam actually feels genuinely pretty good for what it is, for being a hybrid game, you know. It's not of the action combat feel of something like Terra or New World, but as a middle of the road hybrid combat system, I think the action cam's pretty good. Now, while you're going through the leveling process, kind of the simple bog standard combat against regular enemies, it's pretty simple. Couple of hits, they usually go down. I think especially in the core of the game, Corteria, that changes a little bit once you get to the expansion zones, but regardless, whether it's in Corteria or in the expansions, they have champions all throughout the game, which do provide this really difficult obstacle to try to overcome. All right, so here's a tough boss in the open world. You don't see a lot of these champion levels in vanilla, but this is one of them. And they can be actually a challenge, like no joke. You will legit die on these if you're not really careful. That he died. There's an example. You can die. Here's a dead man. I'm gonna try to res him. I'm just gonna ignore the mechanics and try to res him. I'm gonna die in the process. That's why it's a group event, exactly. I've also really liked Guild Wars 2's kind of blending. You have like your core class, right? But then in addition to the class, you've got all of the different weapons that you can use, which come with all of their own abilities, on top of having your elite specs, which is just a whole nother layer added on top. So the game has like multiple layers. You've got your base class skills, and you can unlock all of these, and then that will just give you options of what you put on your right bar. Your left bar is your weapons that you have equipped. Your right bar is your heal skill, active skills, and then ultimate. So those are these skills. You unlock them all, and once you unlock all of these, you eventually get all of these to choose from, and you can just mix and match whenever. But then you have your spec, which you have 5 choices from, and you get to pick 3 of them, and as you unlock them, it gives you choice points. So you've got 1 guaranteed choice point, guaranteed choice point, guaranteed choice point, and you can have 3 of those total. And then further from that are the elite specs, and those are kind of like changing classes. Like, most of the differences that you get here are so substantial, it feels like a completely different class. Sometimes like completely changing the playstyle from the core class. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool system. Once more, I will never stop gushing about Guild Wars 2. It does so much really well. Now, this next point I might have even put higher on the list if I were ranking this in order of like what I like the most, but really the game's progression system, I know this is highly debated, especially amongst like fans of the MMO genre. The whole argument of vertical progression games versus horizontal progression games. I will at least say this about Guild Wars 2, wherever you fall on that spectrum of preference, the fact that Guild Wars 2 is more horizontal, and instead of providing a kind of a power ladder to climb every time there's a new expansion, you can kind of be at this baseline strength level, but then have all of these additional things to chase after. So you're not chasing after more power necessarily, unless you go to the highest end of searching and trying to acquire legendary gear. But there is so much to do The bottom line, though, of this is that it's actually the progression system is probably one of the main reasons I've kept returning to Guild Wars 2 over all of these years. Yeah, and that's the other thing with Guild Wars 2. It isn't a crazy gear treadmill. Some people hate that. They say, I need vertical progression to feel any motivation to keep playing. But honestly, it's so nice every time I get a level 80 character to just be able to literally go to the auction house and buy gear that lets me do 95% of the content in the game, and then just focus on exploration and like larger level achievements through the mastery system. I just love it. I really do love not having to do some massive group raid to get good gear to even stand the content that I'm doing. It's probably the reason why I've kept coming back to Guild Wars 2 over all these years, right? Like I already play other MMOs with gear treadmills and vertical progression. I would be less likely to play multiple of those. You've got your chase gear that you can go for, but pretty much right away when you hit max level, you can get gear that lets you handle a vast majority of the content. And I think that's probably the reason why my 3 MMOs that I've kept playing over the past 15, 20 years have been WoW, ESO, and Guild Wars 2. Because every time I play WoW, I'm back on that vertical grind, but I can easily jump into ESO and Guild Wars 2 and not feel like I have to play for 200 hours before I get some good gear. It's great. So I think there's room for all kinds of progression methods, and I think it's honestly nice to have the variety. And piggybacking off of that point as well, it's nice that this game has a relatively low barrier to entry to getting started and not feeling too overwhelmed, whether you are a brand new player who has never played in the past and you feel it daunting coming into the game after 14 years from its original release, or if you're a player who's taken some time off like I have in the past. Sometimes it'll be over a year since I've revisited, but I'll come back and it's pretty smooth to get into. They don't front load a lot of stuff to overwhelm players. Is there a big barrier to entry in Guild Wars 2? You know, if you just start, you're going to be starting in the intro zones, which are the exact same intro zones everyone began with, 14 years ago. You know how some games that have been around for a long time, even if you start in the early zones, you still get hit with a bunch of menus and pop-ups and systems for all of the new shit? That actually doesn't happen in Guild Wars 2. Now that you mention it, I'm realizing that. It's still just basically this. There's like the wizard vault exists, but that's not even that complicated. It's just dailies and weeklies, and you get rewards from doing it. That's it. It's pretty straightforward. You don't get hit with a ton of crazy menus and pop-ups for all this shit and all these other new systems and mechanics. Like, it's still basically the same experience that it was 14 years ago. Also, I cannot not mention this. Hands down, one of the best things about Guild Wars 2, or one of the things that it does best in the genre, is the mounting system. The mounts in this game, they speak for themselves. ESO mounts are super stale. Every game's mounts are stale after you play Guild Wars 2. These are like the most dynamic, interesting feeling mounts in any MMO ever. WoW tried with their flying mounts, but I still think it feels kind of flat in comparison to Guild Wars 2 mounts. These things have character, they've got so much functionality, and they just have a nice like physicality to them. They feel really good to maneuver. So you got that Warclaw mount that I just did, but then you also got this bad boy, the Raptor mount, and he's all about ground traversal. Like, he's got a huge, super long jump. He would win the Olympics, like, easy. You got the high jumper and the Springer. By himself, he just kind of hops along, which is cute. But then you hold this down and he goes sky high, and he does, and all of the mounts have the dismount attack, which is great. And then there's also the Skimmer, and I think with this expansion there's a bunch of big upgrades I can get for the Skimmer to make him even better, so I'm gonna try to focus on those. But all of these mounts, they don't just feel like transportation vehicles that move you at X% higher movement speed. They actually have a nice feeling to them of like creatures. Like, again, they just the nice animations and a nice sense of momentum. They pick up speed as you go. They've got these cool dismount attacks that are actually functional, and then they've got their awesome traversal abilities. Like, this Warclaw does a fucking he's a magic, it's a magic cat that I ride around on with a triple jump. Like, how sick is that? It's so good. Yeah, dude, there is no mount system in any game, I think, that I've played that feels as good as Guild Wars 2. Now, I will admit I do have a bit of a nostalgia for the core part of the game, let's call it the vanilla experience, the original launch experience, going through those zones. There is some nostalgia to that I enjoy, but I will admit they maybe haven't held up as well compared to other MMOs of a similar age. That said, though, the newest zones, like the latest expansions, and basically everything after the core game, just gets progressively better and more interesting visually, but also the layouts, the systems, the mechanics they've got implemented in there, how they handle traversal and adding new things to the game. I really love. I'm nostalgic for the original Guild Wars 2, but I genuinely love and find some really cool stuff in many of the expansion zones. This is nice looking, dude. Holy shit. They've done a great job. They're still keeping, you know, it's still this old dated game and it still has its look, but I think they've done a much better job of having the world feel more dense and pleasing looking. Dude, it's gorgeous. Look at this. Yeah. They've done a good job of really continuing to make the game look pretty as time goes on. I think like every new expansion has looked progressively better. With this revisit, I finally decided to take a break from my favorite class in Spec, which is the Scrapper Engineer. It's the one that I've played the most over all of these years, but I wanted to try something new. I wanted to start to kind of check out some new classes, learn some new different play styles. So I jumped in this time, made my Necromancer, and ended up going with the Reaper Spec, doing a two-handed sword, having my big scythe in my shroud form, and offhanding as the spear is what I've been using. And it's been a lot of fun learning a new class, and genuinely, I've really, really enjoyed it. And honestly, for most things I've been fighting, I'm spearing, and then I'm sitting in Death Shroud and just doing all this crazy shit, like this fast maneuverability, this fucking, it's like a defensive move, but then it triggers again to fear, and then spin to win. I've got spin to win, dude. It's awesome. Dude, the AoE in this form is actually insane. What the hell? Yeah, this class is kind of insane, huh? No wonder it was showing up as a good solo open world class. Like, even my core kit, even before specialization or anything, my core kit just seems insane. Like, what the fuck? It's actually, I'm actually confused. I already feel like I have an elite spec. I'm just core class. I already feel like I have an elite spec. Something else I like to do whenever I come back to Guild Wars 2, and this is actually pretty much the case with all MMOs, is I like to start fresh. I really do like going through that intro experience every time I've taken any sort of a significant break. How many times have you fresh started Guild Wars 2 now? I mean, pretty much every time I come back to the game, I will make a new character. Yeah, I like getting that introduction, you know, going, and plus the starting zones are always almost nostalgic for me in all of these games. So I typically like to restart. It's really just enjoyable to me to go through that early game progression process. And then finally, if I were to put a bow on it, I think that there's a few specific key things that really do make Guild Wars 2 stand out, and why the game has been going strong for a decade and a half and is continuing to get updates and will be continuing to get updates for the foreseeable future. Yeah, for me, Guild Wars 2 has just always been kind of this background game that I enjoyed and kept coming back to, but it just kept being that. Where other games have kind of come and gone, Guild Wars 2 is just, I'm always having a good time every time I jump back in, and it's been going on nearly 15 years now of that being the case. And I think a lot of it is due to what people complain about sometimes, which is the fact that it's horizontal progression and not vertical. But that's part of the appeal and part of why I'm able to kind of comfortably come back and not feel like I have an insurmountable obstacle that's going to take me a month to try to figure how to get back into the game. Yeah, the horizontal doesn't keep me engaged. That's what I'm saying, though. That's the reason I've been able to easily pick it up and drop it and then pick it up again over the course of 15 years. Whereas that's a lot harder to do in vertical grind MMOs. If you're away for 3 years and you come back, you've got to do that whole treadmill over again to be able to enjoy the game and like feel like you're making progress. Whereas in Guild Wars 2, anything that you do pretty much makes progress. I can go right now, I can literally go to the starting zones of the game and progress my account, do map completion and shit, get achievements. That's the nice thing about it. I can go back to the starter zones on my max level character and still be progressing my account. So yeah, it's a different kind of motivation to play, and it doesn't have that gear grind chase as much. Although it does if you want. Like, you can, I mean, it's not going to be an easy thing to grind up a full set of legendary gear or to get all your mounts and everything. I absolutely get why there are people who want the vertical treadmill and gear chase. That's great. For myself, I don't want to get back to pure vertical game if I can help it, at least not as a main. Well, I think that's the other thing too. It makes it nice, Guild Wars 2, to be an auxiliary game that you can come back to and not have it require that it take up just an absurd amount of your time, right? Because I still play vertical progression games. Like, I'm playing ARPGs like D4 and Path of Exile 2. I'm playing classic WoW or checking out the new retail expansions. But to be able to enjoy multiple of those, it's nice to have some horizontal in the mix. you know? And if I'm gonna point out like one major critique or pain point of this game, it's definitely gotta be its inventory management and the plethora of items that they throw at you. Although I do have some tips for managing it, so it's actually not much of a pain. If you know what to do, the inventory management becomes much less overwhelming and much less of a pain in the butt. Struggling with inventory management in early game, only around level 10. Does anyone have any tips for making it easier? So a couple things if you don't know. Number one, always hit this button, deposit all materials. That will put all of your crafting materials straight to your bank instantly. Doesn't matter, you don't have to be anywhere near your bank, just happens. Click that, then click this. Second thing to do is to get salvage kits, which you'll pick up while you play. And when you have them, you double click them. I don't have any right here because I have the copper-fed salvage-o-matic. And then salvage anything you're not using that's not like good for you or whatever. Okay, great, salvage all that, then deposit all materials, do that again. And then after you do all of that, make sure you're opening any containers you can. You'll get a lot of different things that will open and consume, usually these little bags that you pick up off of people. And then the final thing that you do is you go to any of the vendors whenever you come across one. Go to them, then go to the sell. Some will have a buy above this, but go to the sell and sell all junk. And just like that, your inventory should usually be cleared. If you're gonna invest money in anything for this game, if you ever buy anything in this game, ever, the number one most like useful thing is this right here, the copper-fed salvage-o-matic. It takes the salvage kits that you'll pick up while you play and just gives you an unlimited use one. Now, you still wanna use there's like rarity of salvage kits and the higher rarity. So like if you have like a yellow salvage kit, it gives you more higher tier things when you break down higher rarity items. But for the most part, most shit, I will just copper-fed salvage. So yeah, do those things. Deposit all materials, open up any bags, salvage anything you're not using, and then sell all your junk to vendors. Also trophies. You'll have trophies that you pick up from, those are usually from like zone quests. Like you pick up apples and you turn it into an NPC for contribution. Those things will end up taking space in your inventory sometimes, and sometimes you can sell them to vendors. Other times you just have to trash them. Is salvaging more profitable? Well, salvaging will give you mats that you might use for crafting otherwise. And the other option is to just sell shit on the auction house. Yeah, like I've said, as always, I love coming back to this game. I've had a lot of fun jumping once more back into Guild Wars 2, and I am so incredibly excited for Guild Wars 3. Great Guild Wars 3 vid. Cheers, man. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for it. I still remember the launch of Guild Wars 2 and how absolutely thrilled I was. That was a lot of fun. It's just so fun when the game is new. Now, over time, continuing to play the game, still fun, but there is a little bit of something extra special when the game is new, and I'm looking forward to getting to have that again with a new Guild Wars game, you know? When everyone's still learning the PvP, when all the metas aren't established yet, like all that stuff. I'm looking forward to it, I really am. Learning the content, learning the dungeons, just, yeah. There's very little like a fresh MMO release. It's really in its own special category of video game experiences. Also, I would say my recommendation for anyone who's playing this game for the first time, or if you're revisiting after a long break, is just to take things slow and enjoy the journey, because the journey and like spending time in the world is what this game does best. I wish I could get into this MMO. You can, man, just play it. The best part of this game is just playing the game. Not overthinking anything, not worrying about meta, not worrying about nothing. Just jump in, play, explore the world, do the shit, unlock stuff. The times that I've fallen off Guild Wars the most is when I've been overthinking stuff and over worried. Well, how do I do far? How do I get the max gold per hour? How do I get my ascended gear as fast as possible? Should I be doing these meta events for 70 hours a day? And then I fucking psych myself out of enjoying the game. It's always the most fun when I'm just doing whatever. Like, I'll pick a general direction, right? Like, I want to unlock this mastery line, so I'm gonna do shit that helps me unlock this mastery line. Now, once you hit max level, it's very easy for people to become overwhelmed because there is frankly so much to do, which makes also the horizontal versus vertical progression argument kind of funny. Sure, you're not chasing gear, player power necessarily, but there are so many different things to go after, so many different account-wide unlocks that are really nice and really helpful, all of the different, just everything. So there's a lot to do, and I have a recommendation for that as well. I started playing Guild Wars 2 first time, and it's so confusing what to do next. Just explore the zone, quite literally. Just, you make your character, you're in a starting zone, explore the zone, get your mastery points, do some heart quest vistas, just keep exploring. You'll level in the process. Every like 10 levels or something, you're gonna get a new personal story quest. You probably want to do that. You need like at least once on a character. You don't have to do it on every character, but on your first character, do those personal story quests. You just like accumulate stuff, points, experience, achievements just while you play. Just keep playing. There's really, you don't have to overthink it. Maybe the most confusing part, if anything, is once you get to max level, there are so many different directions you could go. You just have to pick one and go. And usually what you're, besides gearing up, which you can, I mean, you can buy exotic gear from the auction house. There are vendors that you can buy exotic gear from as well. You can get it from PvP and stuff. But besides gearing up, it's really just, I've got like a smorgasbord of 100 different account-wide unlocks that I can get. The various mounts, the glider, quality of life increases through Quarteria like auto-looting. And you just say, okay, which of those things would I like first? And then you go to that content. Right. But yeah, I would say hitting level 80 because there is such a wide variety of things you can do, like directions you can go. That might be the most overwhelming part of the game. Now, as mentioned, we do have the code GW Force Gaming. If you happen to want to jump into the game for the first time or as a lapsed player, you can get a 25% discount on any of their expansions. Also, I will mention, if you haven't heard, they have this entire system where there is going to be some carryover between just like there was between Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2, there will be some carryover between Guild Wars 2 and 3. What if Guild Wars 3 will do the same as 2 and have special rewards for those who played the previous game? They are. They've already announced Hall of Monuments. So Hall of Monuments will carry achievements and special rewards from Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 Hall of Monuments will carry certain special achievements from 2 into 3. That's going to happen. I don't think anything's been detailed in terms of what exactly those are going to be, but it will be happening. All right, well, that does it for this video. Once again, jumping back into Guild Wars 2, this time in the year 2026. Funny enough, this was actually my second revisit because I also revisited the game just a few months ago. I was playing it and streaming it a bunch in like January or February. But again, with all the excitement around Guild Wars 3, I'm just so very much looking forward to it. And really, it all boils down to, it's ArenaNet, right? ArenaNet, they made Guild Wars 2, they've continued to support Guild Wars 2, and it's been a game that I've continued to enjoy going on 14 years now, and I'm so excited to see what they can do next because I still love the game that they're currently supporting right now. So that's all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this gave you some good information. Maybe if you decide to check out the game, it's an easy recommendation for me. It's once more my top three. My top three being World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2. These are the games I just keep playing over and over and over again for a very long time. It's been many, many years that I've been continuously playing these games and revisiting these games. So yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.